I'm the idiot on the writer's block, and I'd like to introduce you to three of my experts, Meg LaTorre, Ronn, and Sacha Black. Hi, I'm Marcus, and I'm the idiot on the writer's block. If you're new to the channel, I, the idiot, ask experts for tips on how to write, publish, and promote my first fiction novel. I already have one graphic novel out called Culliver City Chronicles, Call 1-800-KILLER-GUY, Book 1. Click the link here to check out the giveaway that I currently have going on the book. And it would help me tremendously if you like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel for more tips on how to write, publish, and promote your first fiction novel. Now, in this last year alone, my experts have contributed immensely to my progression as a writer, and I would like to pay it forward a little bit by introducing you to some of their work. Here are some of my experts and the books they've written, and these are the experts I will be showcasing today.
Yes, hi, my name is Meg LaTorre. I am the host of the YouTube channel iWriterly, where I create videos about how to be a successful modern-day author, including traditional and self-publishing. I am also an author, and my debut novel, The Cyborg Tinkerer, comes out November 17th, 2020, and it's already hit a few best-selling lists, which has been really exciting. Since I'm notoriously long-winded, here is my short pitch for The Cyborg Tinkerer. A deadly circus competition, a tinkerer tasked with removing the losing cyborg's implants. Who is she to protect when she falls? For both the handsome ringleader and a beautiful acrobat. So essentially, I've pitched this as Treasure Planet meets John Scalzi's The Collapsing Empire in like an LGBTQ plus steampunk fairy tale mashup. Basically, I couldn't pick one thing, so I mashed like 12 things together. The age category is adult, so it's not young adults, just because I know a lot of people on YouTube write young adult, and it is mature content. I don't want, the youngins picking up the book. It's also a space opera steampunk. Obviously, there's a heavy romantic subplot, polyamorous romance, clearly LGBTQ plus romances, and it's an own voice featuring a bisexual protagonist. If you guys want more information, check out the iWriterly website, iWriterly.com.
Yes, my name is Ronn. I am the author of over 50 science fiction and fantasy novels and self-help books for writers, and I've actually built my writing career while working a full-time job in the insurance industry, raising a family, got a 5-year-old, got a puppy, got a rabbit, beautiful wife, and also attending law school classes in the evenings. And so I have managed to do a lot of things. I started writing in 2014, and I started doing it after a near-death experience, and never thought that I would be here today. And I've got a wonderful platform, YouTube channel of over 25,000 subscribers. Like I said, over 50 books, and life is pretty good right now. So my very first novel, I wrote this in 2013, and it's called Magic Souls. And a lot of people say that your first novel, it kind of represents your hopes and fears and your dreams and everything. Like it kind of sets the tone for the rest of your career. What this novel was I wanted to write a choose your own adventure style book, but for adults. So I read these books all the time as a kid, the choose your own adventure novels. And if you were a kid in the 80s and 90s, it was kind of hard not to miss them. And I read them all just enthralled with the style. And I don't know what prompted it. Several years or many years later in my life, I was in my 20s, and I was like, whatever happened to those choose your own adventure novels when I read as a kid? And so I went and looked them up. And at this point, this was right around the time the Kindle came out. And I was like, oh, what if there was a choose your own adventure for a Kindle? And it turns out that they did release the books on the Kindle, but they didn't really look like they were difficult to navigate. And so I was like, what if I wrote a book that was like that, but it was exclusively for e-readers? So it was built for the ebook architecture. And then what if I did it for adults? So what if I wrote a story using adult characters and grown-up storytelling techniques and all the techniques that I read in all my favorite novels? What if I did that for a choose your own adventure? So that's what I did. And the book essentially is about a woman who, she's an attorney, and she accidentally makes a deal with a demon. And in order to break the contract, she has to steal the souls of 3 innocent people. And I like to call it an ethical train wreck on every page. There's all sorts of decisions that she has to make, or you have to make for her. And I tried to implement a lot of modern things like dialogue. So being able to choose what she says in conversations, There's also a game show that the reader participates in, and there's like real prizes. And so, yeah, it like represents my hopes and fears, but that's Magic Souls. So my second novel was also a choose your own adventure style book, and it was called The Sword Bear Chronicles. So book one was Theo and the Festival of Shadows. And that's about a sword wielding teddy bear who has to travel into a nightmare dimension to save his owner from the boogeyman. It's kind of like Toy Story meets David Bowie's Labyrinth, is the best way I describe it, with a dash of choose your own adventures. And that novel actually took me 9 months. So took me significantly less time because I kind of had the format down a little bit. I knew how to write an interactive story now, so that was comfortable with that. And I knew how to format it. This one still had a lot of intricate elements to it. Like there's a board game in it, and there was lots of interesting story elements that I didn't do with the first book. So it took me about 9 months. Those were the only two that I ever wrote that were choose your own adventure style. After that, I moved to a traditional fiction narrative, mainly because it was faster for me to write. And I think I was a little bit ahead of my time with those books. I really liked them, and the readers that found them really liked them, but there just wasn't a huge audience for them in 2014 when I was writing them. So Moderation Online was my first traditional style novel. And the gist of that series is it is about it takes place in the near future where obesity has become a pandemic and people are dying left and right because we haven't figured that problem out. And the only way that the doctors can figure out to solve it is to hook people up to a virtual reality video game that retrains their brains to associate vegetables with good things. And unfortunately, some hackers break into the system and they install a virus of evil processed foods who, in this virtual reality video game, they take over the world and they start subjecting humans to their will, and vegetables become the bad guys and they become second-class citizens who live under this giant technologically savvy city. And so the gist of the story is it's about a group of anthropomorphic vegetables trying to take down an empire of processed foods. And the main character, Kendall, is kind of stuck. He's a human. He's an obese human stuck in the system, and he's stuck between these two warring races. And that's kind of how it starts. It's a trilogy. It's 3 books and done.
So my name is Sacha Black, and I am, as you said, I am a podcaster. I host the Rebel Author Podcast. I also host Next Level Authors, and I host once a month, or co-host, I should say, a podcast that's part of the Alliance of Independent Authors, which is a non-fiction and fiction self-publishing show, essentially. In terms of my books, I write non-fiction, and my primary series is called The Better Writers series, and its aim is to help you improve your craft. So I have books on writing villains, which are the most important characters in your book, if you didn't know. Also another one on heroes, and my latest one is called The Anatomy of Prose. And then I also have another series that I've co-written 2 of the books in the series. It's not my series, it's Jay Thorne's series. And it's called 9 Things That Career Authors Don't Do. And mine are on rebel mindset and personal finance. And then in terms of fiction, I have so I've published 2 books in a young adult series, and I've finished the 3rd one that's in the last stages now. And then I also have a couple of other books that should be coming out next year. One is a contemporary young adult, and the other one then moves into adult fantasy. So yeah. Okay, so Keepers is book 1 in the Eden East series. Victor is book 2. Trey is book 3. That's the one that I have finished and should be out by the end of the year. And I'm currently writing Sirens, which is a prequel to that. And The Scent of Death is it's like contemporary young adult, a bit of magical realism. So essentially, the pitch is a boy gets punched on the nose by what looks like death and then can smell how people are going to die. And he then gets flung to fame, and it's all about the consequences of what happens. And the whole theme of the book is around saving people, and essentially what happens if you know how to save everybody's life, but you can't save the one person who you really want to. And so that one is standalone. potentially, it may end up as a duology. I sort of have the inkling of an idea for a duology, but the book will very much be written as a standalone. And yeah, the other ones, the Keepers, Victor, Trey, and Sirens, and one more, that will be a complete series. So that will be finished by the end of next year.
There you have it, some of the wonderful people who have helped me on my journey to become a better writer. Check in the description to this video for links to their work. And show them some love by buying their books, subscribing to their podcasts, watching their videos, and sending them a hearty hello from the Idiot on the Writer's Block. And don't forget, you can help me too by liking, sharing, subscribing to this channel for more tips on how to write, publish, and promote your first fiction novel. I'm Marcus, and I'll see you next time.